Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Digging Up Dillinger. I'm your host, Joe Malillo. We are back. Another episode. We took a break last week. We all kind of had a little thing going on, so we just needed a break. So Travis is back, Mike Thompson is back, Stuart Fillmore is back, and we have two guests tonight that are going to be experts. And what a follow-up episode to our canine episode. We just got Indiana Search and Recovery, Canine Search and Recovery on the line, ready to go. So we have Leah Snyder. She's the founding director. She started in 1999. And then we also have Jordan Gray, who's one of the co-directors as of now. And they both work together. They were both on site, Shane's house, as we search the property with canines. And they're here tonight on site, on property, searching our souls for the right questions to ask about canines and what you guys did for the report. So welcome everybody. Hey, what's up, everybody? Jeez,
Yeah,
What's
welcome.
happening? All right.
too much Joe Malillo there in the beginning.
I wasn't going to say anything.
You know what we're not going to get a lot of, Jordan and Leah, tonight, that you guys won't get a big taste of, is that Todd Hiles. If you guys notice, he's not here because he
Yeah.
finds other things more important, like the Cowboys. Lame.
To each his own.
To each his own. Leah, why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself? Obviously, we talked a little bit about you last week or 2 weeks ago. Tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe how it all began.
Well, I'm really not that interesting. But I started Indiana Canine back in 1999 to give all these people that have the desire and abilities to help other people, to train dogs, just to want to make a difference. And we started Indiana Canine with the idea of no egos, no wannabes. No, we do this because it's something that we want to do. We want to train dogs. We want to be helpful, and we don't have your regular, ordinary, everyday pointy-eared dogs. We have a little bit of everything. Doodles, golden retrievers. I have a Great Pyrenees. Then Jordan here, he has the pointy-eared dogs. Yes, German Shepherds. We have Dobermans. We have what else? Border Collies. We just use a variety of dogs. And we do it because we have a love of training dogs and a love of wanting to help people.
Yeah. And you guys are nonprofit too. You don't make any money on this.
We do not. We pay for everything out of ourselves. All of our travel time, our gear, all of our expenses we pay for ourselves.
And it can get pricey.
Jordan, I bet. What do you think the most expensive thing is? It the food? No, I'm just kidding. What?
It's probably just vet care and your annual visits. Your just regular run of the mill stuff. It adds up over time. A lot of the equipment and stuff. It's a one time purchase. Yeah, it's a little bit up front, but yeah, it's just that constant recurring cost.
What? Tell us.
We have to vaccinate. I'm sorry. We have to vaccinate for everything. We have to cover everything.
Yeah, you guys do a lot of work with the dogs specifically, but also you guys have to do it too. It's your time, right? And once the dog's trained, what? I guess if someone wanted to do something like this, what is a way for them to do it? I think people are interested in how that begins. At least I'm interested in how that all begins. Like, if you're interested in it, how do you start?
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Well, we have a website where you go to. We call ourselves extremely professional for a volunteer group or trained civilian resources. We have rules. We have guidelines that we follow. We do national certifications. We do in-house certifications. It's a lot of training, and it's training for us as well as the dog. We also have a list of classes that we have to take besides CPR, and we do the weapons of mass destruction classes because they tell us a lot about chemicals and what we've run into. And we don't see it so much now, but back in the day, we had a lot of, ran into a lot of meth labs with the dogs, and those can be deadly to a dog.
Yeah.
So we have to take classes on knowing what to do about that. So you've got canine first aid CPR. We've got human first aid CPR. Jordan, what other classes do we do?
So I'll just touch on we want to adhere to a certain standard. I mean, we're a lot of times working with police and anytime you're involved with government agencies, you need to adhere to a certain standard. And we try to match the same standard as the police with their dogs. We match the same. That's why we go through a PLATA, and we maintain these classes and these certifications, and that way we can present ourselves as professional. We don't self-deploy. We follow a very rigid guideline of how we interact with police agencies and the public, and we just come off as very professional. And I mean, there are some people out there that will self-deploy and they'll give us a bad name, and it's very difficult to keep us in good light with police agencies when people are doing that. So we never want to be those people that make everybody else look bad. So we try to do our best to remain as professional as possible.
Tell us how you really feel about the self-deploying people.
It only takes one to ruin it for everybody in the state.
Let me just to be clear, Jordan, just to clarification question. That means that someone has a dog and they think they're trained and they're going out and doing these things by themselves?
So yeah, there's that. And for instance, like in North Carolina with everything going on there, there was recently a guy that went and claimed on Facebook that he actually had found a particular woman's husband, and she got on there and posted, he's absolutely not found, he's still missing. And it only takes one person trying to steal that valor to just ruin it for all search dogs. So it's stuff like that we try to avoid, and we do our best to maintain that professionalism and show police agencies and the community that, hey, we are serious and we do have a passion for this.
Definitely professional all the way around. Probably one of the most professional things from this perspective, from this podcast perspective, that we've ever done. You guys totally professionalism throughout the whole thing. The whole search at Shane's property really was exciting, and it was really fun to watch you guys do your work. I mean, we clearly could tell your experience shined that day as we were watching. I kind of want to bring Stuart in. Stuart, when have you ever used, when you were at the FBI, were you using canine search organizations?
So I did have one case actually where it was considered, and I actually talked to a couple of handlers about it. But where the area that we wanted to search, believe it or not, was adjacent to a cemetery, and the handlers, they were like, I don't think it's going to do much good, in this area where you need to look, because just real quickly, the case was it was actually a police officer who was taking prostitutes in his patrol car to a cemetery. And there was a couple of them were missing, and we thought maybe that he had killed them, and there was a wooded area next to the cemetery, and so that was a place of interest for us. But the canine handlers just said, the dogs really won't help you in there, because that close to where the cemetery is, it's too confusing, for the animals.
I agree.
Yeah, and to touch on that, I mean, over the years, you're going to have, water and runoff and all that, and that can play into it. So
and now that I recall, actually too, it was where the area we were interested in was actually kind of downhill, and so that made it even more complicated. So yeah, we were not able to do that. Turns out that the missing people were not in that area anyway. So, but. It's one of those things when you have a case going, you try every resource available, and I think that the cadaver dog option is fundamental in certain cases. There's no replacement for it. It's vital in some circumstances, and yeah, I agree that you don't want people out there that make you look like less than professional. Let's say. So
you're already battling a stigma, being volunteers in a civilian organization,
right?
Trying to do something.
take his scenario, for example. You get a newer search group going out there and they're gung-ho and wanting to get something found. They go out there, they get a couple of hits, and then you've got all these resources digging and looking, and then all of a sudden you don't find anything. And now you've just wasted people's time and money, and it makes everybody else look bad.
And then I can tell you too, as an investigator, the next time that comes up, I'm going to say I'm not going to use those cadaver dogs. I mean, that we wasted a whole 2 days on that.
Exactly what happens.
It happens all the time.
Yep.
Can you guys?
We've had it happen before, and it literally takes about 8 years to recover from that.
Yep.
Wow. The fact that you know that tells me you're just the best, Leah.
You basically got to get people to rotate out, and then you get new people in before you can mend those relationships and with the agency.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Yeah. Job turnover in the agency's perspective. That's interesting. Can you guys talk about a case that you've covered that you're allowed to talk about that maybe is pretty well known to Indiana folks? Or sure.
We've got a couple. One of them is Lauren Spear, and I'm not even sure her family was aware that we did so many searches for her, but I think we did, correct me if I'm wrong, Jordan, but I think we did 4.
Yeah, there was multiple in a couple of years span that we were down in Bloomington looking.
And then there was Stacy Peterson, which is actually Stuart, who I thought you were talking about when you were talking about the girlfriends being missing in the cemetery. But we went up there to Joliet 7 times, and of course we didn't find anything. But the other one that's kind of close to home is Denise Flum, and she's a 19-year-old that went missing from Connorsville. And this is why we're currently doing a fundraiser trying to raise money to buy a GPR, because the dogs can kind of give us a general area of where something is, but when it's been underground for 30 years, the water will wash that scent everywhere, and the GPR will kind of help us to maybe pinpoint it a little bit better.
Pinpoint what? Like a bones?
Pinpoint where there might be something.
Yeah. So it narrows down your dig site.
Okay. Yeah, of course. But would a hit in the GPR look like bones, or what would it be?
They call it anomalies.
An anomaly. It's something in the ground, Joe, that shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you check them out. It doesn't matter if it's rocks or tree roots or whatever it is.
Sorry to interrupt. Continue, please.
But anyway, we have an area that we need it. We really need to cover it. And our locals have a GPR, but they don't have the resources to send anybody out to use it. And I understand that. So we have a previous member of Indiana Canine that was at one time, that was his job. He located cables with GPR. So he said that he would train us on how to use it and help us on a few searches with it. So it's just something we really need, because even our state forensic anthropologist doesn't have one.
Yeah. And again, that's something else going back to, your dog may have made a really good hit, but if like you said, if it's a little older and the rain or the water has moved that scent around, that's a fairly big area, and so you may miss what's there. And again, that goes to, man, I'm never using them again. So I never thought of that, but the GPR seems to would go hand in glove with the dog.
Especially when you get something that's, older, 20 plus years. If you've got the behavior with the dog and the GPR, it's a lot easier to go and say, all right, let's dedicate some resources and start looking a little deeper into this.
It's a nice insurance program to have for you all.
Yeah.
It doesn't work the way people think dogs work. It's not like television where the dog runs out in the field and starts digging someplace and says, right here, it's buried right here. It doesn't work like that. Groundwater washes that odor everywhere, and it settles in low spots. And you have to learn to read a dog and know what the dog is telling you by their body language and just by watching them work. And Joe, you were out there and watched these dogs work out at the Dillinger place, and you could probably see the difference between those that were working and those that weren't.
Yeah, absolutely. Plus, you guys spend, they're your puppies, right? Too, right? You do love your dogs, I hope. I mean, maybe I'm speaking. Do you guys like your dogs?
Oh, we love them, of course. Yeah, they are absolutely family first, and they're workers second.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was actually a question I wanted to ask. So these are workers, but they're also pets.
Absolutely.
That's how
Right.
Indiana Canine started. It was
I love it.
we wanted to anybody that's got the heart and soul to do this, and the time they want to invest in it, and the money they want to invest in it, and the training and the things you have to learn, that wants to do this, you shouldn't be limited. And that's why we started this group, because there's a lot of people that have dogs that want to do this. And just because it doesn't have pointy ears, my breed's Great Pyrenees. Nobody runs a Great Pyrenees in search work. Yeah. But if you take the time to train them, they can do it too.
Leah, explain to me the significance of because you've referenced that a couple of times, the pointy-eared dogs versus non-pointy ears. Are they better overall for this, or?
Well, Malinois, Dutch Shepherds, German Shepherds, and those breeds that a lot of law enforcement use, there's a reason they use them. And they're a lot faster to train than the average dog, because they have a higher drive, and it's easier to manipulate their drive to want to do something than it is a Great Pyrenees, who is a giant slug. So
okay, I thought
it does boil down though to, if you can find out what makes that dog tick and what it loves, then you can train it.
Okay,
yeah.
Interesting.
Great.
You speak so highly of your dog, Leah.
My slug. He's not a slug. For Great Pyrenees, he's really not a slug. That's why this one was extremely easy to train, and he's my third. He's my third Great Pyrenees. I've lost 2 before him, and I had the opportunity to try another breed, and I just like Great Pyrenees. So
I'll say this too. You get dogs that are great with the high drive, but they're fast. Sometimes they will be so fast they will blow over things. So you get a slower dog that's a little bit more methodical. You might not miss those little details. So there's a benefit to having that range of extremely crazy drive versus, not as driven but still driven.
Yeah.
And we had a Boston Terrier that internationally certified with a Plata.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Stuart, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I was just going to say, all dogs we know have, the smell qualities way beyond human capabilities. But, I guess in my kind of untrained world about it, I always kind of thought that like bloodhounds were like the, maybe considered the best type of
rocks.
Okay.
Hold on. Say it again so we can get it and put it on TikTok. Go for it. What is it?
I said they're dumber than a box of rocks. Bloodhounds and basset hounds are probably the 2 most difficult dogs I've ever worked with. I was an obedience instructor for 24 years.
Okay.
And I taught professionally. And yeah, bloodhounds are just, they have that one-track mind.
In his face too.
She's right. There are dogs that are just more difficult. I mean, you get bloodhounds, just hounds in general. Huskies, they can be very difficult, and they're very stubborn and opinionated. So,
okay. Wow. Okay. That's really cool. This is fascinating. I love this stuff.
Well, we do too. So you keep asking questions and we'll keep answering.
Now, how long can you use a dog for this type of work before you have to retire it?
Well, normally we retire them about 7 or 8, but Jordan has one that's 10.
And she does not act 10.
Okay. We just had one we lost. She'd slowed down quite a bit, but how old was Molly? 15?
Yeah,
we have another one that's 11.
Wow. Jeez.
Okay. So, we retire the dog when they're ready to retire, but we don't do rebel work. We don't do disaster work. So,
okay,
we don't have to worry about them getting hurt as much. So as long as they want to work, we let them.
The retirement is really dog dependent, and as a handler, you just have to be in tune with your dog. And as they get older, you need to know when to back off a little bit, maybe not push them as much, depending on the temperature and your terrain and all that. So it's very dog dependent and situation dependent.
So that just kind of you like pick up cues on when they're like getting burnt out on the search.
Yeah, so when you spent so many hours with a dog, you can definitely pick up on when they're kind of struggling and getting tired and frustrated. So it's just one of those things that because of the time spent with them.
Wow.
One of my favorite questions that we get asked is, how long does it take to train a search dog? It only takes about 2 months to train the search dog, but it takes 2 years to train the handler.
Yeah,
it's harder
right.
to. You're saying it's harder to recognize the signs in the dog than it is for the dog to give you those signs.
Right. Exactly.
So I'll touch on that. So when we're training these dogs, we're using material. It's very stinky. You can smell it and everything. The difficult part comes when it's not stinky, when it's something older, when it's bones and stuff like that. That's when you're not going to maybe get an indication from the dog. That's when you need, as a handler, to be able to identify the dog's change in behavior and say whether or not that's working behavior when they're in odor or something else. So that's where it really gets tricky as a handler. It's easy, to watch a dog go right up to material and indicate because, it smells as bad as, you would think.
Sure.
It's trickier when it's older remains and bone, stuff that's not smelly.
Do you all focus in on the older cases, or do you do new cases too?
We just are lucky enough to get a lot of older cases, I guess.
Like that, like ours.
Yeah, but you know what? It's a challenge, and I hate to say this because it sounds kind of cold, but some of these searches are fun. We actually enjoy doing them, and it's not just because we're looking for somebody that's deceased. It's because you get to watch the dogs work. You get to learn different things. There's just a lot of things about it that make it enjoyable to do a search.
Well, I appreciate that you're passionate about it, because you're just, for our listeners, that should mean that you're passionate and you're actually out there doing the job. You're not just out there running around. That's what.
Well, that's the other thing.
Man.
So, a lot of times it's, old cold cases and there's no government resources to allocate for this. And these people are desperate and they don't have anybody. And even if we never find something, just being a presence and getting out there and searching and showing that you care makes a world of difference to them. So that's, half of it right there.
And we have a lot of miles that we've covered that we know where there is nobody. Lots of miles.
Can the dogs tell a difference between a human and an animal?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So when we train, we put animal remains, like animal
dead deers,
feces, everything. So the dogs aren't trained to indicate on that, so they don't get a reward on it, and because of that, they just don't indicate on it.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And you mentioned earlier that this is, that you called them workers, there's they're pets, but then, they're pets first, but then work comes second. To them, actually, is this even work? I mean, to them, they're out there. It's a game. They're out having fun. They're having a blast. Yeah.
Well, I always said like this: God gave them this ability to do this. Yeah. It's us humans that interfere with that ability for them to do this. So what we do is take them out and tell them it's okay to do what you're supposed to do, and we're actually going to reward you for it. And then it just grows.
I love that. That's great.
You guys, this is great. Good conversation.
This is fantastic.
I love this stuff.
I do too. I'm a dog lover, and I love hearing these stories like this.
Same here.
It's fantastic.
What do you use to train? You said you don't you don't give them rewards for indicating on things like feces or dead animals, but what do you use for that?
We can't tell you. If we told you, that would make more training material for us.
Yeah, exactly.
We use placenta mostly.
That's a big one.
It's the human body has 27 different odors. All 27 odors are in a placenta. It's the only organ belonging to a human that contains all 27. Why would you use anything else?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If because dogs have this uncanny ability to be able to file things away, and you show them 27 different odors and you keep showing them 27 different odors, you don't have to break them down into single odors. They'll go back to their file cabinet and they'll pull that out. Oh, that's this one. And they got it.
Jeez,
And to
what?
touch on
amazing.
that,
That
and
is
to touch on that,
amazing.
Go ahead, Tony.
we'll start with fresh material, and as we work through a year, that material will age and it will go through the different stages of decomposition
Sure.
until it gets to a point finally that it's not super smelly. So there's that range that we're already training on, and that just helps us develop that full scent picture.
Sure.
You take pieces of it and put it in places? Or do you take swabs of it? Like what? Like at what
No,
degree?
We put it in. We keep it in my freezer. I have
This
a
is a
freezer
true
that's
crime
just full.
podcast. We're not really that often
Exactly. No,
surprised.
I'm in that. I love it. I love it.
So when we're actually training, we put them in mason jars that
That's-
have holes in them.
Got
So
it.
that the
that's
dogs
what we
can't
put
get
out.
to it. Yeah.
Are you digging? Are you putting it under the ground?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
We do
okay.
it. We do things that you wouldn't think of. We've even put it in stuff, dirty diapers. I know,
Right.
but
Yeah. it
Yeah,
is.
to try to differentiate
Yeah.
between one strong smell and another. Yeah, that's
Okay.
good thinking. Yeah.
we did one case that was really neat to watch this dog work. And this is why I don't handle a dog anymore. I like standing back and watching all these guys. It's so cool. We had guy went missing, and he went missing from a car dealership. And we took the dogs into the car dealership, the building itself, to see if they had anything. And the place reeked of pine sol. It was so strong you almost couldn't breathe in there.
Mhm.
Well, this is what got my mindset going on pine sol, bleach, dirty diapers, everything,
Sure.
just train with all kinds of things. So
Yep.
we put it in some unusual things sometimes. And we hang it, we bury it, we sub-bury it, we put it in water. We do all kinds of things with it.
Wow.
That's a great.
Yeah,
That's
that was
more
something
fun
that
than
I
it is
remember. That was something I heard at some point. Was that the scent can actually travel up through water?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Jordan's found people in water.
Yeah.
My first find was a guy that was in a frozen pond.
Okay.
Frozen.
Man.
Wow.
Frozen. And
And
we
you-
didn't find him that day. I actually didn't even know that Emma was correct. I just basically saw what I told the officer on the scene what I saw and what I thought of it, and I left it at that. They actually called the fire department out. They checked the area. They didn't find anything. Come spring, the landowners were putting out a new sign, and it was right in the spot that Emma was.
Wow.
Wow.
Water's the thing that I don't know what some of these departments expect the dogs to do, but we have more kind of disagreements over what a dog says on water than anything. We had one in Columbus where a guy drowned, and we told him that the guy's here. The dogs. We had like 7 dogs alert on one spot, and oh no, we've already checked there. It's like, why'd you call us that?
Now, when you search on water, are you just walking the perimeter? Or are you putting the dog on a boat and like?
Either
You can
way,
do both.
yeah,
Okay.
we do
Boat.
it either way. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
You
Yeah.
put them on a boat, and it's every dog will do differently on a boat. Some dogs bark. Some of them will dig at the bottom of the boat because they don't understand why they can't get to it. Some of them will jump in and swim around it. They all do something different.
Isn't that great?
Okay.
It's unbelievable.
So to give you some insight into it, when you're working a dog in a boat, you're not going to get the behavior's different. So you've got to be really in tune with your dog, and dog will actually, its body position will change with the scent. So that's when you turn if the dog's at the front and it turns to the right, you start veering to the right with the boat. And you kind of got to just communicate with exactly. You got to communicate with whoever's driving the boat, and you get closer, and eventually your dog, you get out right on it, dog will indicate.
Very cool.
I'll tell
Very
you what
cool.
to do. Next time your dog's pointing, tell the guy just drive the way that he's pointing. Just
Yeah.
go that way.
Yeah, it doesn't work like that always.
That's really cool. That's really cool.
It really is.
We didn't have very much water, but we did have low places on the Dillinger farm. So
Yeah.
I mean, we did. I mean, it was kind of fun. I mean, I feel like you guys had fun with the search because
See?
yeah. She knows. She knows. So any more questions, guys? I kind of want to go into the next phase of this podcast, which is let's go over some of the results from ours. I have it pulled up. Do you guys have any more things you want to say? I mean, this is great. I don't want to stop it. I mean, it's great.
I want. I want to hear the results now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man.
Oh, you
okay.
haven't heard the results yet?
No,
No.
This
don't
is
keep
like
it from us.
right. Joe keeps it
Well-
so it's organic for us.
Yeah.
All I want to say is, Joan, can we go back?
Can we go back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we go back?
Yeah.
How soon?
Yeah, that's what I want to know. How soon?
I don't know. We just got to ask Shane. Ask that guy. Hold on. We're pulling it up here. Let's see if we can get it done. Okay, cool. I think you guys can see that, right? I know, Jordan, you're on the phone, so it's going to be a little smaller, but you guys know what it says. So I'm just going to kind of read from the top, and then we can talk about it, and you guys can tell us what it really means, okay?
Yeah, I talked to Bree today, so I got a little bit more one-on-one about what her dog did.
Great. So this is a first page search report, Indiana Canine Search and Recovery. The reason was an unmarked grave coordinated by Leah Snyder, Indiana Canine Search and Recovery. Me as the contact person, aid the location of John Dillinger. That's pretty cool to have on a report. That's pretty cool to have that.
I like it.
We did it on
Definitely
October.
a conversation piece.
Yeah. I mean, but for you guys, I feel like you have cases that are like just epic cases. I mean, just Lauren Spears is a big case, like to have that.
So was Jill. So was Stacy Peterson. That
Yes.
was
Right.
a big one.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right. So you guys we're happy to have you there. You gave us the location, also what time you arrived. You started searching right at 3:00. You searched for about 40 minutes and you left the site at around 4 p.m. Is that right? Did I say that right? 3:00? You guys got there at 3 and searched for 40 minutes and then left at 4. It was 82 degrees and humidity was 45%. The barometric pressure was 30 in Hg. I don't know what that means. You guys are probably going to tell us, but I love
That
So
all
the
makes
higher
a
that
difference
is-
in
yeah.
how dogs work.
So
Say it
yeah,
one more time.
it can make a difference. So the higher that is, the more the scent will be pushed down because of the pressure in the air. And then the lower the number, you won't get it as much. So
What's a
it
low
actually anything like 15 and below probably.
Okay.
But it's not something huge, but it can make a difference. Just like, the fact that we're in a drought, that's going to make the
Yes.
density of the ground different and more difficult. So they all kind of play with each other. It's not super important, but it's something to be mindful of when you're out there.
Yeah, and it's also really good to have in the report because I think it gives you a perspective on the day. You don't think about stuff like that on a daily basis, like which way's the wind,
Well-
But I really like the temperature because the temperature we had to make sure we put it in October because
Yeah.
we wanted to make sure that the dogs were going to be comfortable because if it's too hot, it's tough for them, right?
Right.
Yeah.
The hotter it is, I mean, you've got so long until they get tired, and
Yeah.
they're going to burn out quicker. And I mean, the temperature is a big one.
The canines that we had on scene, there were 6 of them. Emma, Gwen,
I believe there was 7.
there were 7.
Yeah.
But here they say 6. So
Well,
you
we
guys-
had Denali. He's with Raven. So
okay, got it. Raven, Denali, Maya, and Bo. So and you have Gwen right there, Jordan. You were handling Gwen that day.
I handled Emma, and then
Emma.
Miranda handled
Sorry.
Gwen.
Got it.
All good.
All tier. So Cheryl's on this too. Report. There you go. And Dillinger family. What's up, Dillinger family? Okay, so the comments, all teams cleared their designated areas with some changes in canine behavior. These changes in behavior were not enough to confirm that the behavior was indication of being in the presence of a human decomposition. Refer to individual handler reports or further on the areas covered. And then there's a map. So I kind of have the map of Shane's property, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is why don't you guys tell me about this page, since it's your report. So go ahead. I'm sitting here talking about it. Just tell us.
Jordan's the map guy. He is.
So you can
awesome
go
on
ahead,
that.
seeing as you spoke with Bree on this one. This is hers.
Is this Bree's? These are
Yeah.
the areas that Bree covered with her dog. She said she saw some slight behavior near the shed that was back by the back corner. See, that would be the northeast corner. Let me see. Anyway, she said that her dog showed a slight change, but not enough to call it as having him being in the
Presence of human
presence
decomposer.
of human. Yeah.
5G.
So
it looks like 5G and 5H. Those sectors is what we're talking about. Because that's where the shed is.
Yes.
5G
That's
and
where the
5G.
shed is. Yes.
Gotcha.
And then in that same map, are you going to pull up a map for each individual?
No, there was only one map on all the reports.
Yeah, I
Okay.
didn't zoom in on any of it. I just covered the entire area that we searched, and then let the individual handler reports, display where they searched specifically.
Wasn't
Now,
there like 3 dogs hit on that same spot?
Yes.
One of the Dobermans went right to it pretty much, and then
It was J1, clear up there in that corner.
Yep.
Now, if you can barely see it there, see that privacy fence along there?
Yeah.
That line
Yeah.
right across the corner.
Yep.
That's someplace I wish now that we checked a little more carefully, because anytime that you get something as old as this one is, you need to look for high spots and low spots. And the dogs were also interested. There was a couple of them that were very interested, excuse me, on the fence around Shane's house, just on the bottom of the fence over there on the north side of the house.
And I'll say this: I'm very cautious to use the word hit,
Yes.
or indication.
Yes.
And the reason is there's no way that I can tell you that they found anything.
Right.
There was a change in behavior. What that exact change was, I can't tell you, but it's something to be mindful of.
Sure.
Especially with how old these remains are. The older they are, the more
Weird.
hesitant that you need to be.
Yeah.
Sure. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that was the area up there where I think we had like 2 dogs that were very interested in that area up in there.
Yeah.
And it's just, on when we come back and we debrief on doing things, a lot of times when you're there in the middle of it, you don't see some of the things you do when you get back home and sit down and talk about it. And one of them was that privacy fence that's up there in that corner. I would like to have taken a dog along that privacy fence, simply because in my thinking, that was a good area.
So
Okay.
we need to go back, is what you're saying, and then we'll do it probably when it's not
I'd
a
like to go
drought.
back.
But you guys are booked. I know you guys got a lot. You got to help families. That's ultimately what we're. So
Yeah.
we can save this, but yeah, I mean, I would love to see you go back and go to that back area. So that was Breeze, but go
So
ahead.
what would it tell you when you guys come back and the dogs act in a similar manner
Well,
in those areas?
one of the things that ever since, back when I ran into the situation where this came up, I never go anywhere with one dog. Absolutely never one dog. I don't even like to go with just 2. I like to take 3, because if one says yes, the other one says no, then you take the opinion of the third dog. What I would like to do is take a different dog back there. We had Emma and Raven back there that were really good. Those are 2 very solid dogs. And I'd like to take maybe 1 or 2 more really solid dogs back and have them check it out and see what they do. Now, I want to explain something about the really solid dogs since I brought that up. When we're doing a search like this, it isn't involving law enforcement. A lot of times we'll bring people that have not certified yet, but are trained to the ability to be able to go out and do searches. They just haven't passed a certification yet. And a lot of times we'll let them do a search like this. One, it's Dillinger. I mean, you know, they got to put that in their portfolio. And the other one is it gives them that kind of that drive to want to do this and be good at it. So I'd like to get a couple of dogs that are good and solid to go back to that area and see what they do.
Great. Yeah, thank you. That's awesome. And thanks for explaining that too, because, you know, we knew that too when you were coming out. You made that very clear. Like, hey, we got, you know, people training too. So, and we didn't care. We were happy to have you. So,
well, thank you.
And now I get to put in our resume that we work with you. So, this is Raven. So just a heads up, we have about 5 to 10 minutes left here on the podcast.
Have one.
What'd you say?
I have 1 minute left.
Oh, you do? Okay. Well, just let us know when you're done. K9, Raven, and I and Colton began searching H4. We graded east and west. But let's just skip to the bottom where it says K9 Rebel and K9 Raven both came out. Oh, no, not that one. Raven showed a change in behavior in cell C9, but did not perform her trained alert. I thought that was really interesting sentence. Can you elaborate on that for us?
Yeah, that's where she changed. When you get a change in behavior, and we talked about this before, it's like a dog is walking along just being a dog, and then all of a sudden it hits a brick wall. Whoa. You know, something stops them, something makes their brain switch into another mode. That's a change of behavior that we look for in the dogs. Wow. And that's what Raven had done.
And sometimes that change is big, and sometimes that change is extremely subtle.
Like what? Like how subtle? Like, give me an example of a really one that you were like, this is successful at recognizing.
So it can be something super quick. Like, so Emma can be going along and then just do a quick change in behavior, like a quick change in direction, and then check a spot and then just keep moving along. That's a change in behavior.
Or sometimes with, especially with German Shepherds, you'll get a real hard head flip, and they're walking along, and all of a sudden, woo, they whip that head sideways, and then that's a pretty good indicator that they caught something that really caught their attention. And some of the minor things that you'd look for is, we've got one dog that when he gets into odor, his tail turns up over his back real tight. We've got another one where the tail goes out straight. Some of them, their ears go back. Just those subtle things that you have to watch.
That's when you have to be really in tune with your dog.
When they pick up on a scent like that, when they turn their head, do they slow down and stop and go back to it, or will they
generally
keep moving?
And so each dog will work a little different, but a lot of times you'll see that.
So the other reports too, by the way, are kind of all assigned areas were cleared with no indication from K9. So, and you guys are talking about which areas in the grid that you guys cleared, and it seems as if the next 3 or 4 say, no indication, no indication, no indication. But yeah, obviously we have Raven doing her thing. And then we also have
I think Raven, Bree, and Emma were the only 3 dogs back there.
Yeah, that's what they were saying. So look, I'm going to stop sharing the screen. If you guys want to see more of the report, you can email us at diggingupdillinger@gmail.com, and I can send you guys, I like to send our viewers the reports, because just like you, we need everybody's help, right? We can't just do this alone. So in general, do you think that the theory, I guess I'm just going to say, do you think that the theory that he's buried in this property somewhere could be alive still? Could it still have hope that he's actually on this property?
I do.
I think it's very plausible, even if we got nothing from the dogs. The dogs are just a tool that is, potentially helping put another piece of the puzzle together.
You're right.
It's not, 100% or anything. So heck, they could go and have a change in behavior. You guys look further into it, you find something, and it's not even John Dillinger.
Yeah, sure. It's just the body that Shane killed.
We wasn't-
Exactly.
We
He was
wasn't supposed to bring that up.
Yeah, don't make him any more nervous.
He
I
was
love it.
nervous. He was pretty
love
nervous when we said, "Oh,
Yeah, he
look,
was.
the dog's changed behavior over there." So that's a good way to put it, Jordan. And I appreciate your perspective because you're right. You know, this is a huge puzzle. We talk about it all the time. Stuart's a
Yes.
huge puzzle guy,
Yeah.
and you know, we're just this is
I
just
have one for Stuart.
well, Stuart's puzzles involve usually assassinations of presidents and such. So, like literal, but you get my point. We appreciate your point because it's actually like we are putting a case together here. We're trying to make sense of a bunch of different things all at once. And this was great, and we really appreciated you guys. I think we should do it again. We'll go live on TikTok again. Of course, every link that we have is on diggingupdillinger.com. And then also, you guys, we do want to shout out to our viewers and listeners. These guys are looking for help to help raise money for a ground penetrating radar. I think that's a great cause for us to kind of help push you. So
Absolutely. Yes.
Yep.
we'll put you right on the forefront whenever we have to ask for money, not only for stuff that we want to do, but also for what you're doing. We want to help as well. So you got a partner.
Absolutely.
We appreciate it.
Yes,
Yep.
we do.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Any
think
last
John
kind
would
of-
like it that way.
What'd you say, Travis?
I think John would like it that way.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think,
Well,
I think he was Robin Hood, so he would have probably
Yes.
gave you the money if he could.
Well,
Maybe we
glad-
can find some buried out there somewhere.
Maybe
Maybe that
we
way.
can find a body with the money.
That's right.
Wait, I have a
That's-
question. I have a question real quick, because it's really quick.
Okay.
Would canines hit on that map that was in the ball jar?
No.
Okay. Okay, great. Just
Not unless there was a
Not
body
like-
piece with it.
right,
Yeah.
right. Unless there's
Yeah.
blood or something with it. Okay, sorry.
Or finger, toe, or something. You know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, another episode we hit. We're at 21 now, guys, and we're so excited. So we're obviously going to see these guys,
Yeah.
the Canine Indiana Canine Search and Recovery again. But please follow us. Go like, share, subscribe, comment, share, subscribe, comment again. And I always say this, guys, and it's apropos for you all. Just gotta keep digging.
Keep on digging.
Keep digging.
All right, we'll see you next time, folks. See you later.
Good night.
Have a good one.
But